Hello, everybody. Okay, again, we'll give it about one more minute and then we'll get started. Okay, I think we've had enough time to let everybody drop in, so we'll get started with this week's round. I apologize if there's any noise in the background. Kids are home today. There's no camp. So there's a lot of jumping around and having fun going on upstairs. So bear with me if there's a little background noise. Okay. So we've got a lot of questions again around the AI and around what's going on with Medical. I'm going to cover some ground that we have already covered. I'm going to try to do it quickly. Again, I'm getting questions in the email about how this all fits together, so let me give you a 30-second update. For those of you who have been here before, I apologize, but has to be. I'm going to catch everybody up. Okay, so Concierge Medical, and Nexology are all being moved together to form a new product. Concierge will provide the doctors and this type of support. Medical is the infrastructure, and additionally will be providing medical support and knowledge to the product. And we are taking this out as a telehealth and in-person health play, and backing it up with a lot of the AI that is already found inside our Nexus Security product suite. So that's the 30-second update. There will be press releases coming out, very shortly, and just expect those within, very shortly, within the next week or so. There'll be some PRs coming out about how all this works. So, and additionally, I've already seen demos of the product, so I mean it's well on its way, and we'll have product descriptions out and exactly how this is all going to go within the next couple weeks. All right. So on to the AI. Again, there are revenue questions. I cannot address revenue questions in this forum. Revenue will be released in a PR as is required by the stock exchange. So please don't send in the revenue questions. If we could get a pinned post about that, that'd be great. As I can't address those here. Okay, so next we're going to continue down the AI. So this is an interesting thing. Do DM's AI ventures all revolve around NLP? Okay, NLP is natural language processing, for those of you who aren't familiar with the term. The short answer is no. There's a lot more to it than just NLP. We have been doing a lot of NLP lately. And NLP is integral to stack. Like we do it, there's a ton of it, seeing as, the basis of all this was coverage of media and social media, and all of that is, most of it is text. And so NLP is at the core of a lot of our technology, but it is not the sum of all of our technology. In fact, one of the core pieces that we have that is very, very, very useful, it's called the Lexical Map, for those of you who have seen the product in motion. And, it's based around, it's very similar to algorithms that CERN and other people use to predict a black hole at the center of our galaxy. And it is one of the pieces we use to, for the discovery portions of our tech, that allows us to highlight things that are, may bite you in like 2 days or in a week. Trends that are bubbling just under the surface that you may have missed because they have not, gained enough traction to be on the front page yet, but will within the next few days. So a follow-on question to that, but stuff for like the 7-Eleven and the fintech work, is DM taking on other AI? The answer again is most likely yes. Those two particular pieces are research or R&D things. So it'll be where the R&D takes us. Now, we are using the core stack of the NLP in parts of that, particularly with the 7-Eleven. They're using the core stack as they analyze the responses and voice commands and everything else that's going on there. The fintech work's a little bit younger. Like you said, that was just recently signed. But again, they're starting with that core tech of NLP, and we will expand upon that as these projects move forward. Now, if any of you guys are familiar with my particular background, you would know that 10 years ago I was doing NLP work against financial tech in hedge funds. And so this is not something that's new. It's been around for quite some time. It's a little bit trickier now than it was then, as there's a lot more going on in social media than there was, 10 years ago. That being said, as these projects evolve and they update, if anything becomes material on those projects, we will definitely tell everyone. So keep your shirt on as those two projects develop. And you'll see a lot of the fintech stuff coming out in the next couple months, or a few months. I don't want to say couple. So now, continuing within the medical realm, the question is, will telehealth be centric to Canada and focused on existing clients in film, or will it be more broadened spectrum? First, yes, it will be centric to Canada, as that's where we're authorized to operate at the beginning. Okay? We do not have suites of medical personnel running around in other countries at the moment, and we do not have the clearances we need from the different health industries to run something like Medi-Call. Like, we would have to have another company built, say, in the United States that already has been cleared by their health authorities and regulators in order to do something like we're planning to do with Medi-Call. Luckily, with Medi-Call, all that's already taken care of, which is additional piece when we were weighing whether or not to acquire it or not. That weighed heavily, as those types of clearances take time, and we couldn't go to market quickly without them. So no, we will be starting with Canada, and we will be opening up individual markets. And those markets, again, we'll be putting this out in some PRs coming up soon as to which markets will be first. And that's how Medicall will be rolled out in Canada. It will not be solely focused on existing clients. The existing clients will be using Medicall. But we will be appealing to a much broader group. So this is going to be available to the public, right? It's not going to be just production companies or mining companies or anything like that. So there will be, a public offering on the app stores, like with iOS and Android. So you'll be able to pull it down yourself, sign up by yourself as an individual. So that's the answer to that. Next. Is the 2020 sales agreement with SES Solutions automatically renewable? I would have to go and look at that contract to see if it is. Off the top of my head, all of our sales contracts are automatically renewed, or at least the base standard is. So I would venture to say that one is, but again, I'd have to go get the staff to pull up the contract and take a look, as I don't have it in front of me to give a definitive answer. So the short answer is most likely, as our base templates are all automatically renewable. So, has DM considered partnering with consulting companies to sell our AI with their customer base? Yes. So we are actually already partnered with a few of these guys. But it's not a partnership in the terms of like the things we are doing, the bids we go in on it with the government, stuff like that. It's not that type of partnership. These are reseller agreements, right? So they do reseller agreements. For those of you who know what reseller agreements, or don't know what reseller agreements are, it's when another company sells somebody else's goods, then there's an agreement between the two companies as to how the revenue is split up. Has a current client in the film industry shown interest in the AI? Yes, they have. And we are in talks with them. But to make sure that everybody's on the same page, all of the production industry right now is in limbo. So the AI talks are not happening right at this second. They will probably resume this month, I would think. This goes in to answer another question that was asked about the contract. So I'm going to kind of skip over to COVID as it's tangential to this. People are asking about what happened with the contract with the Screen Actors Guild on June 30th that was due. They extended it through this week because the industries couldn't get everything nailed down. We are supposed to get an update on that today as to what the state of affairs is. But as of right now, the old contract is still governing. So, testing continues, and, nobody wanted it to stop. There's just some finer points that the production companies and the Screen Actors Guild and the unions couldn't, dot all the I's and cross all the T's by their self-imposed deadline. So they just all agreed to extend the old one while they finish this up over the next week. And I think a lot had to do with the holiday. As this was a holiday weekend in the United States. And so a lot of people are taking days off and things like that, but that's just me speculating. So yeah, we should have information about that today. Whether or not they're finished, I'm not sure. But they'll be finished soon. But it doesn't impact our business for everybody out there. Everything's still going. Things are still renewing. We're still testing, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. Okay, so now I've talked a bit about the AI. I'm going to answer some of the COVID questions. I'll come back to any other AI questions that are here as they come up. Please provide an update regarding test kits sold to schools, as was mentioned in a recent interview. I don't know what kind of update you would want. So the school stuff is, it's the school stuff. Then, where we're selling, there's some schools that are using kits. And that's pretty much it. It's about the same as the production companies and the mining companies, in that you'll see, the stuff listed on when we release quarterly reports. So that's the best place to go for those types of updates. So when Q2 comes out, take a look. You'll see it. Is it okay to record this? This is interesting for people who are unable to attend. I would think it's okay. I don't have a personal objection to you guys recording me. I don't think we're going to record it and host it on the website or anything. We may do that. I don't know. Let me look into it after this, and we'll see. But I don't think there's any laws around it like there are in the U.S. Don't quote me on that. I'm not sure. I know it varies, on your jurisdiction as what the legality of recording this is. Okay, can you provide us an update on how institutional investor calls were received? They were well received. That's the general feedback. We had a lot of good, head-to-head time with institutional investors last week. We got some more coming up this week. So people are pretty interested in what we're doing. There was a lot of interest in what's going on the AI side. So, especially with the new verticals the couple new verticals that we were taking it in, we were showing some people, how we plan on approaching that, and there was a lot of interest in there. So overall, I said it was very well received. No. I'm not going to cover this one again. What is your current PR plan? We covered that for 2 weeks in a row, so I'll give you the short answer. Short answer is we're out there with PR companies now. So, you've seen some of it over the last couple of weeks. That will continue. Next general question. Can advertisements be listed on the website? I'm sure they could. I'm not exactly sure where you're going with this. We have a lot of information on the website already. But I guess we could host ads. Do you plan to hire a senior sales manager and to add a sales telephone number? Well, we already have both of those. That's the answer to that. The guy that does a lot of the sales in there, his name's Edward Park. He works for Datametrex. I was just out actually doing some sales with Ed about 10 days ago. Oh, this is a good one. What are some of the risks you as a leadership group have identified and are actively monitoring? Okay, so the easiest portion of this answer is, COVID for the revenue stream is COVID going away, and that, that's going to impact revenue stream. We already know that. But again, I've been over how we planned around that and what we're doing for it. The second one that, we identified last year, was again COVID related, as a lot of the R&D work and a lot of some of the other work had to slow down. We were impacted by COVID just like everybody else, both internally and externally with some of our clients. because as they reorganized and did what they needed to do to continue to work and produce product and stuff, it necessarily we had to follow their drumbeat. Like, I can't force them to move faster than they're going to move now. And what did we do? What did we do because of that? Well, what we did internally, we did a big reorg and got rid of every single spending piece that we could. So we further reduce our costs internally just in case, and that's worked out really well. We, like everybody else, one thing that we had going for us at that point is, having been involved in technology field for as long as I have, I've been running remote teams for 20 years. We were running remote teams off tech like ICQ and stuff back in the day. So this is dating ourselves. So we had a leg up on that. The other risks in there, well, we needed to diversify. One of the things with Nexology that the leadership team that was in there before me had made a decision, and you're seeing the results of our diversification now. But one of the let me go back to this. One of the things that the team had done is they had decided to not work with the private sector. Okay, they only wanted to work, with the public sector. Now, examining that revenue, one of the things that's one of the challenges of working with the public sector is the way the contracts work. Okay, and so that probably was the biggest risk that we had identified, because the way public sector contracts work is they can pull the plug on you. There's about every 3 months there's a clause in there that allows them to yank the contract if they don't like the way it's going. That's number one. Number two, I, for the life of me, couldn't figure out why we wouldn't work with the private sector at all. And so that's where you saw us moving in initially with, Latte and Samsung, and now moving into other verticals. So diversification of the revenue stream was, a big deal. And we really have not been in a position to push that very, extraordinarily hard up until now. As the first piece to being able to diversify that revenue stream was to get a revenue stream. So we didn't have the contracts coming in. We've worked over the past 12 months and a little to build that out to where we financially can do these things. So those are the pieces that we identified and have worked on over the past year and a half or so. And again, I'm glad to say that we're in a position that we can do that stuff at the moment. So, okay, again, what is the strategy to expand in North America and have a presence globally? Okay, so, well, we already have a global presence in the fact that we have offices and we are working in South Korea, and we have moved into Europe, set up European stuff. I've been through that quite extensively on here. Give it a quick once over. We continue to work with our partners in South Korea. There's going to be continued contracts going on there. We just signed 5 more lead contracts, so to speak, just a month ago. We've set up headquarters in Berlin, and we've pushed out a lot of material into the European market right now. And we're working both with the trade administration in Canada and NATO to actively pursue contracts in the European market. in North America. Like I said, we've brought on some people to do some sales here, and we're looking to take. We're actively looking at private sector contracts in North America, in addition to the public sector contracts that you've heard me talk about, which hopefully I'll be able to give you guys those news, the news on those as soon. But just suffice it to say that those are going very, very well. I'm just not allowed to talk about it at the moment. Any updates on buyout proposals for the acquisition of DM? None that I can talk publicly about. When those do become public, I will, there'll be press releases about that stuff. Can DM's AI be utilized in identifying future outbreaks? That's a really interesting question. We have used some of the AI in the past for disaster recovery. Identifying outbreaks is another matter altogether. So, to be really honestly, we don't know yet. Now, we do know that it could be used to cover the spread of something like this. That would be right in our wheelhouse. But whether or not we can identify a future outbreak, that's a different story. Most likely this would involve getting involved in public health medical data, which we have not looked at. And, would require us, I would venture this would require a lot of paperwork with Health Canada if we're allowed to do that. But it is an interesting thought. Are there efforts afoot to expand the nature of the existing relationship with Air Canada, especially in relation to Canada reopening cross-border travel? Yes, that's the answer. But it's not direct. It involves Air Canada, but it's broader than that. The efforts are centering around how they're going to test people at the border. One of the specific things that's under review is the validity of the antigen tests. Okay. They're now using the antigen tests. I know they're using them for a fact in Quebec, where I live, to test people who are symptomatic. They sent my son for a test on Friday because he caught a 1-degree fever. So we called Santé Publique and they sent him in there and they did an antigen test on him and then sent him home. We had the answer in about 30 minutes. Luckily, he's, does not have COVID. He just had a 24-hour bug. So the questions right now, things are supposed to be opening up today. They still haven't answered this question, but we are, in talks with procurement and everybody else in Canada about what they're gonna, which tests they're gonna use and what they're gonna allow. Okay, just got a text message from Vancouver, so I'll update you guys. I think, and we're going to have to be done. We're about out of time. Our contacts, main contact that deals with all the production companies as a whole, has not heard anything about the Screen Actors Guild negotiations as of 9:30 their time this morning. But we will update you guys as that progresses. Again, just to reiterate, it doesn't affect our testing right now. When they decide what they want to do, then we'll let everybody know about it if it affects our business. Okay, guys, that's about all I've got time for today. We'll try to get to everything that we didn't get to today next week. And that's it. Thanks everyone for being here. And we'll talk to you next week. Bye.